Good afternoon. It's your buddy Eddie Buffalo. This is episode number 48, and today it's not going to be insurance questions podcast. It's going to be tax tips with Sassy Sarah. We were talking earlier today after we did the first episode. Well, after I did the first episode, and she was a little bit fired up, I gotta say. So I'm like, well, we said we weren't going to do another one, but go ahead. And I'm not even turning the timer on, so go nuts. You know. So
I won't go
tell
too
our
nuts.
audience why you were all fired up today, Sassy Sarah.
So I was reading an article that I found very interesting, and it basically talked about artificial intelligence, which everybody knows is kind of becoming a bigger thing. But the article expressed what criminals are doing, and since it's tax season, I thought it was beneficial to share. Basically, people are using AI to set up an IRS account underneath the wrong person and steal people's refunds. Um, Refunds have been stolen for many years,
Really?
usually in the millions of dollars. It's a big issue. Um,
How is that even
something
possible, Sarah? I don't get
all
it.
they need is a social security number, and with
Really?
how technology is, the dark web, everybody puts everything on social media. You now have information being stolen
Yeah.
from different software companies. So it's a big prevalent problem that most people don't know, and AI is just making it worse, because now they can
How
make
so?
videos.
Expound on that for our viewers.
Well, so they can make videos based off of pictures online, or videos that you put online. If somebody's recording, let's say a birthday party, whatever, then they can also steal any information you put out on the web, the kind of car you drive, your age, your birthday, background checks. You can pull your addresses and your affiliates, and it can gather a ton of information that we're not able to do anymore, or where it doesn't take as much effort to pull that information.
So
And there's
basically,
two.
it's like I've seen videos on deep fakes where it's
Yes,
like a famous person and they're talking and it looks like them. It sounds like them, but it ain't them.
but it ain't them
Mhm.
exactly. And that's what criminals are using now. There's something that I've seen this year doing tax returns where the IRS is pushing a program they have called an IP pin. And basically, it's a 6-digit code, and they send you one every single year so that the IRS can confirm that it's you who are filing the tax return. And
And you said they send it to you. You're not like generating this yourself.
you are not generating it yourself. So you can set up an IRS account if you go to their website. I actually posted a video about this where I include the actual links to go to. Um, and
Maybe
you
you
can
can share those links with everybody too, Sarah.
Yes. So if you go to set up your own IRS account, this is where you can see if you owe the IRS money, if they sent you any letters that maybe the post office hasn't delivered yet. You can make sure all your tax returns are filed. You can pull transcripts. Literally everything you've ever done with the IRS will be in this system, and it's www.irs.gov/payments/your YOUR for the people who like to do UR and your together.
Are you going to have that on your website anyplace?
I am going to have it on my website.
All right.
Dash online dash account.
What I'm going to do, Sarah, for our folks here is that I'm going to take your name off and I'm going to put
Okay.
your whole website on there.
Perfect.
It's so long that everybody knows who you are.
Yes. But anyways, you can go to this website. What they do is, this is kind of where the AI situation is getting into it. So you have to know your personal information, and then it verifies who you are with using your driver's license and also facial recognition software. You only have to do it once, but it does set it up. The next thing that you can do is, there's another place you can go to. I suggest going to Google because it's a really, really long URL, but just do IRS IP PIN. And you can file an online application. Unless you're a single filer and you make less than 79,000 a year, or married filing jointly, you make less than 158,000, then you have to do a paper application, or you can go to your local tax office, make an appointment, and do it in person. The longest one, of course, is the paper application. It takes between 4 to 6 weeks. The in-person application takes usually between 2 to 4 weeks, and of course, the online is a lot faster than that.
Tell me, why do you hate AI in your business world?
So I hate AI. I feel like I'm like the 90-year-old who thinks technology's the devil. How I feel. I don't like the impersonalization that technology is doing. And then how it's expanding to where you call places and you can't get a live person anymore. It's always an automated system, which I have just during tax season, but usually I answer the phone. Or, I mean, it's just, there's so many different things. You even have automated recordings where now they call you, but it's not even a live person anymore. It's AI calling you.
We were talking about that earlier. I was letting you know that I have had companies reach out to me where they'll set up a dialing system, predictive dialer. That's what we used to call it when I was in the collection world. And basically it would dial live numbers. It would not do like busies or anything like that. It was either going to be a person or an answering machine. And what you would do is you put in certain phrases. I don't know 100% on it because I kind of felt icky about it. I feel like I didn't want to do anything about that. And who is PEDS digestion? And basically it'll say, hi, this is Eddie Buffalo. You know, this message is for Sarah McCutcheon. Sarah, my name's Eddie Buffalo. I work for EBI Agency. You said you wanted some information. We're following up. My number is 716-541-4118. That's not me. That's not me at all. And which is very crazy, you know?
Right.
Because it's kind of scary that, like you said, it's kind of scary out there. Hey, it's PEDS digestion.
PEDS, Pediatric Digestion Motility Disorder Society.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know he doesn't need an introduction, but ladies and gentlemen, it is the one, the only, Donnie Lowe. Hey,
Thank
Sarah,
you.
catch him up on what we're talking about, especially with what happened in your world today.
Well, actually, there was 2 things I was going to bring up. The first thing that you missed, because Eddie wanted to start it early and I told him to wait, is basically I read an article where AI is being used by criminals to steal people's tax returns and personal information. So I was telling people how to go to the IRS website to create their own personal login account, and then setting up like an IPIN, which is a 6-digit code you need every time you file your tax return, and the IRS sends it every single year. It's a different number.
Okay.
Just to help to make sure it's you are who you say you are. And I read another article that the IRS is using AI to spy illegally on individuals, because AI gets into everything and they can see transaction between bank accounts and seeing who's avoiding paying taxes.
How would you know it's even happening, Sarah? That's my question.
If I remember the article correctly, they're going in front of Congress. Like there's an actual act going, they're researching into it to see how bad it is. But that's the dangers of AI and technology, is it can be created for great uses, but you always have those individuals who want to use it the improper way.
That's
Now,
so
correct me
true.
if I'm wrong, Donnie. A couple months ago, wasn't there some kind of legislation federally that they wanted to outlaw AI dialers?
Well, I think I know in the insurance industry, it is regulated where you cannot do that, especially with all the do not call lists.
But
So
yet,
you
there are
always have your
services still out there selling it, Don.
right. You've got your federal do not call list, your state do not call list, and then the individual or specific company do not call list. So it makes it difficult to just, dial out. Same thing with emails. You can't just, at least in our industry, send out, 100 or 500 or 1,000 or more emails, you know, through AI as an example, because it's spam. And then, the fines and the penalties are pretty hefty for that.
It's funny because one of the guys that did work with me in the past, he had some kind of issue, and it was a personal issue, and he copied the whole company on it.
Oh, boy. That's a
So, I
little
mean,
different, but
you do have to be careful on stuff like that. I mean,
You do.
especially between a BC and a CC, some people don't even know what the heck that is. You know
know.
what I mean? Especially if they're new to the business world, and yeah, it's just really interesting. I just
That's
have
so true.
to share with the viewers that Donnie Lowe is not a real person. He's actually AI.
No, I am not.
I thought you were gonna do like a Max Headroom.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really
I was
dating
just thinking of
myself on
that.
that one. Yeah,
Sarah, since you're talking about AI and like the IRS kind of getting in there and looking at everything that we do, see, say, think, whatever. Are you aware of that law that came? I think it's coming into effect now. That was passed, maybe 2019, but it's just taking effect now, where any business that's an LLC or perhaps an S corp as well has to file with FinCEN.
So yes, kind of.
Well,
So
time out,
it's
time out.
coming out.
Tell us what
But-
that is first, Sarah. What is FinCEN?
So it's really dumb, in my opinion.
How do you really feel about it, Sarah?
Well, because so when you do a company filing, you have to list out who the shareholders, members, directors are. FinCEN is another place where all that information has to be sent to. So it came out this year that they were forcing people to do it. The thing is, and I want to say it was Georgia, or I think it was Georgia, I think it was Atlanta, where the Supreme Court said it's not constitutional for them to sit there and have them file through FinCEN. So it may end up getting overturned,
Right.
or just come out that FinCEN basically said, we're not going to penalize people for not signing up, which is then, okay, but people have fought to sign up in the last few months. And then now you're saying you don't care if other people don't. It's all over the place. So
Yeah.
I'm going to hold, I think it's a lot of government overreach, because if you already have the information, there's kind of no reason to keep filing elsewhere. I understand the logic behind it. They're trying to catch people who are doing the tax evasion. Even the IRS has even stated, because I looked that up too. I was trying to find the article I read earlier that was talking about they're doing an investigation on the IRS.
It'd be great if you could find it. You can share it on your screen. Here's my question.
I couldn't find it. It was on my phone, and of course, it disappeared as soon as I pull it up. But
I have a question for you, Sarah. Okay.
Sure.
How do they like pick and choose how they hack your IRS account? I mean, I haven't gotten a return in years. I hope they hack me and they pay my taxes.
You don't want them to hack you, because it will be like a horrible hot mess that you have to deal with for years to fix. Even if it's, because one, they're not going to pay your taxes, Eddie. You're not going to get that
This is
lucky.
the first time I've ever heard of anything like this. I mean, why does the public not know about this, Sarah?
Because I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because I don't want AI to catch something and get me in trouble. Communication to the masses has not been done well.
Why, I wonder. Because you're opening up a big old can of worms when you do something like this, it sounds like.
Yes, and the IRS is mainly using it to catch people who are tax evading, is what they're saying. It's kind of like when they Congress was giving them the $80 billion. They're saying they're gonna go after the high-paying individuals. The problem is, they're gonna go after the people who are working the $600 jobs a year, driving Uber or Lyft or other side jobs, who aren't reporting that income, or wait staff who gets cash tips. That's who they're gonna go after, because those are the people who are avoiding paying the taxes and reporting it. The people who make $2, $3, $5 million is paying buku's amount of money for aggressive tax lawyers to do it the way that, so that they don't get in trouble.
Well,
Right.
since we're talking about AI, I'm asking AI your questions, Sarah, and see what we can come up with. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what is gonna happen. Nothing's happening. Here we
They don't
go.
want to answer.
Maybe.
It took AI just a couple extra seconds to dial into the IRS database.
Yeah. So listen to this. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it or not. She should start talking. All right, well, she's not talking, so I'll talk for her. So AI is being used, and this is from Copilot, the AI generated thing from Microsoft. AI is being used by cybercriminals to commit tax-related identity theft. They use AI to generate lifelike images and convincing videos that impersonate taxpayers, allowing them to file fraudulent tax returns and steal refunds. Scammers gather personal information from various sources, including public data, databases, phishing attacks, and they use this information to file fake tax returns quickly with sophisticated techniques that can bypass security measures. The IRS recommends filing early, using direct deposit, and being cautious of specific communication to avoid such fraud. Holy cow.
So,
That is scary. It's super
so
scary.
what happens is, for example, the March 15th deadline just passed, which was the partnership S Corp
Right.
returns.
LLC.
So the ones that weren't ready, I had to post an extension for. And we had a few come back where they went somewhere else and filed the return already. So we got the kickback. Well, the issue is, let's say they didn't go elsewhere. That means somebody else filed underneath their business EIN number.
Mm.
So that's basically what happens, but at the individual level.
I mean,
the
how hard
individual
is
goes
it
to
to find
file.
an EIN? How hard is it to find an EIN number? That's all public record, isn't it?
No, it's not really public record for an EIN. It's really hard to do. It's the company sends you like a W-9. It's probably easier to get a social security number than an
Really?
EIN number,
Hmm.
oddly
That's
enough.
interesting. So I shouldn't give out my social number of 199276969. I shouldn't do that on the interweb.
Don't do that, because that could be somebody's actual number and you just screwed them over, Eddie.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Jeez.
Uh-oh.
It is really scary. I mean, I also broached the question to you, and I posed this to you earlier. I said, you don't like I can't even say it. AI, and I don't like it if you're using my voice to pretend you're there. But where is that line, Don? Because you weren't on the conversation. Where is the line of you embrace the technology, or it's going to pass you by? Because what we're talking about here is so foreign to so many people, including ourselves, that in 10 years might just be the norm.
I don't think it's
What
gonna
do you
take
feel
that
about
long.
that?
Yeah, I think how the speed of AI and what it can do, its capabilities, some of the capabilities we can't even fathom. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be, I think, months or a year where it's gonna really be so prevalent. I think it is already so prevalent now, and we don't realize it. It's not gonna take a long time.
Like, I was watching a video the other day of a company. They posted their video 2 months ago of their robot using ChatGPT 2 months ago, and it was very clunky and moving you know, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen the Tesla bot out there where it's holding up the egg and everything. So this thing was amazing. It was like, he was standing in front of a table with some dishes in a dish rack, an apple and a cup. And the guy walked up to it and said, "Can I have something to eat?" And the thing looked around, very eloquently picked it up and handed the guy the apple. I'm like, are you kidding me? And that's only in 2 months. It's gotten that much better where it's actually moving like a human. I mean, and the big question is, will it replace humans for, say, Mickey D's, Burger King, or Walmart? You know, I mean, we're at the point now where we're using the self registers.
Kiosk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know a lot of the big box retailers are actually talking about giving you a surcharge for using that technology. So not only are you doing your own stuff, but you're paying to do it yourself, which is crazy. Donnie, did you see that article that I sent you from one of the Buffalo's TV channels?
I
you-
did.
you-
It's
watch that?
I heard about that a few days ago where restaurants are there's like a $4, well, it depends on the restaurant, but a $4 kitchen fee.
Hey, are we keeping you up? Sassy Sarah? Are we
I
keeping
need
you up?
coffee. I'm
Huh?
sleepy. I was gonna take a nap.
Come on, pay attention.
I
So
did
basically-
a $4 charge to use the freaking kitchen. That's
And
like
what did they
asking
call-
if it
what
wants
did
a
they say
tip
it
if I check myself out.
I think
Yeah,
it's just
hang
called
on.
a kitchen fee or kitchen
It was
surcharge.
a weird name. I'm trying to find it right now.
I've actually heard of people who they use the like self-checkout, and I forget what store it was, but then it asked if they wanted to tip themselves. And they're like, do I get the tip or who gets the tip?
So this is from WIVB back in Buffalo, New York. And the story is kitchen appreciation fees becoming the norm in Western New York. Prices on everything from gasoline to groceries have been going up in recent months, and your restaurant bill may be next. If you were planning on already eating out in the last few weeks, you might have seen what is called a kitchen appreciation fee added to its bill. It's meant to support those who make your meal, and experts say that it's a trend that's here to stay. Wow. So here's the question. I didn't know nothing about this till today, and both of my daughters have been servers. My son is a chef in a local restaurant in South Buffalo. So is this going to trickle down? Who is this going toward? Is it going to him? Is it going to the bar back? Is it going to the hostess?
Yeah.
Is it going to the waitress? And if so, if I'm reading a story like this and I'm like, well, screw it, I ain't gonna tip. They're already getting the money. So I really don't see how it's gonna help anybody, to be quite
So
honest
I
with you.
think tipping culture and all these additional charges are just excessive. Like, I have no problem if I go to a restaurant or like do DoorDash
Well, the
or
service
pizza
is good.
delivery. I'll
Mhm.
tip. Starbucks, I'm not going to tip you. I'm sorry. It's a $1 billion company. They should be paying you a livable wage. You only tip the people who are not making a livable wage, and that's their job, right?
Well, I got
I
something
get
for you.
that.
I got something else for you, tax lady. So let me ask you this. When you tip, do you tip it on your card or do you pay cash?
I usually tip it on my card because I don't carry cash.
Do you know what happens in that case?
So what should happen,
It
and I've done
does.
bookkeeping for some restaurants, what should happen is the wait staff is supposed to report how much cash they have. And then the employer is supposed to put the tips they get on credit cards on their checks. So it all filters to their W-2. They pay taxes on it.
That's what happens.
Does
Right.
that happen?
No.
No. And the
Me-
IRS knows that. It's just going to be a matter of time where they're going to crack down on it.
Well, I think the way to crack down on it is cashless society. So-
No.
And-
What are you,
I
communist?
feel like I'm a
Donnie?
90-year-old.
No.
Oh,
I was telling
okay. It figures the AI guy would say that, the guy that's made by AI.
right.
Oh, we
Well,
should
and
not
I was
use
telling
money
Eddie
any longer.
earlier, I feel bad. I feel like I'm the 90-year-old person saying technology is the
Well, you're
devil
close to
because I
90,
don't
aren't
want to
you?
do that. I want to be able, if I feel like carrying cash on me, have it.
Exactly.
Well, that brings up
Yeah.
a big question that I said to my daughters, because they were like that. especially my one here. And I'm like, you don't carry any cash? She goes, no, I got a card. I go, okay,
Yeah.
say you're in the middle of nowhere and you need gas. And guess what? Their card machine's broken. What are you gonna do? So at least they're in the habit now of stashing a 20 or whatever, just
Yeah.
in case, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's a
it's,
strange time we're living in, you know?
so I'm not against prices rising, but like you said, when they charge the fee, is it actually going to the cook staff? Why isn't the restaurant just increasing their prices and paying their cook staff more? Why is it the customer who has to pay an additional fee and not know where that money's going?
Exactly.
Well, I know when you
Um,
go to a lot of high-end restaurants and you have X amount of people at your table, they're already gonna include the gratuity, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Well, and
I mean, it's been kinda around for a while, but this is across the board now. They're talking, well, at least in Western New York, and if it's going on there, it's gonna end up trickling down to the rest of the country.
not necessarily.
How
So
do you figure?
I'm one of those people, if I go to a restaurant and they do that automatically, I won't go back.
Really?
I'm one of those people. It's the same thing of if I go and I purchase a good and I use my credit card, but they want to charge me the merchant fee when really it's a business expense and the business should either raise prices to cover it or just eat it. Because I do, if my clients pay me by
Yeah.
credit card, I'm not going to charge them the fee
Right.
for the
I
credit
mean,
card.
that's a very good
I
question.
won't go back.
There's a lot of little restaurants and bars, and I'm sure you've been in them in Buffalo, and I'm sure you've seen it even in Dallas, Sarah, where they don't even take credit cards because they don't want to pay the big. So in that case, how the heck are they charging the 4%?
Yeah. So
You know what I
when
mean?
when we were in Florida, we went to this restaurant and we paid by credit card. There were maybe 6 of us there. We paid by credit card and they put on a surcharge. So we're like, what do you mean there's a surcharge? Well, if you pay by credit, we put on a surcharge.
They don't want to pay the
If
big.
you pay by cash, it's whatever the price was in the menu. I said, I understand if there's a surcharge by paying by credit. However, you should have informed us before so
Yeah,
that we would
could have been
know,
posted.
okay, we'll pay by cash. Or, all right, you know what, we don't have enough cash. We know it's gonna be extra. We're gonna pay by credit card. But it was just when the bill came and I looked at it, I was like, wait, what is this? What is this for? Well, the
I mean,
prices are higher because you're paying by credit.
I
Just
mean, the prices
inform
of,
so we never went back again, only because they didn't inform us.
Well, but that's the thing is,
Sorry.
if they don't inform you, majority of people don't look at the bill and they
Yeah.
just pay it.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So you must be looking at his timer. It's probably time, right?
no, one of my daughters is trying to call me.
Oh.
You know, I was talking about servers.
Her ears are ringing.
Yes. But this is you know, I'm glad we did this today because it really went in places that I really didn't think we would go. But this is all real life stuff and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got a lot to do with taxes,
Mhm.
you know?
Absolutely.
And you gotta think that everything went up after the pandemic. Plus, a lot of people aren't going out to eat anymore. I don't know if it's because they were just used to eating at home, or right now everybody's watching their pennies.
I think it's the latter. You could throw in a lot of people could have lost weight because they weren't eating out as much. But I really do think it's just how bad the economy has gotten.
Oh.
It's super expensive.
So talk about AI, and this will prove it right here. I gotta cover up the top part because there's like a picture on it and it's gone. So I hit the wrong button when I was texting my daughter just now, and the Chat GPT took over and was putting down everything that Sarah was just saying. That's some weird stuff.
I dislike AI. I need to like get a cabin in the woods and live off the grid.
Yeah, I want to see you do that. I want to see you do that, Sarah.
Hey, look, I had a big
Oh,
garden.
sassy Sarah of the woods. Come I got a jackrabbit for dinner. Gonna make some stew, some sassy Sarah stew. It's gonna be delicious. Let me tell you
I
what.
can make anything taste delicious. I'm just gonna say. I also know how to make my own soap, my own candles. Yeah.
Wow,
Friend,
good for
friend of
you.
ours from your area, Donnie Lowe, the rich area of Buffalo. They would make their own detergent and soap.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
closed my soap business. I made homemade soap and candles. But I closed it because of COVID. I didn't want to go to farmers markets and have people
Mm.
touch stuff and like it was gross. Oh my God. Farmers markets, people are eating and then they touch things with their hands. And I'm like, do you not know sanitation? And then 2020 happened and I'm like, oh, people have to be told how to wash their hands.
I know.
Great.
Girl, you know what my mother used to say when I was a kid? You eat a bushel of dirt before you die. And I'm sure we do. You know, between
Yeah.
that and bug parts that are allowed in food. I mean,
I
if
know.
you thought about all this stuff, number one, you would never buy anything from a store. And number two, you would never go to a restaurant. Period.
Oh yeah. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of what's
Yeah,
in food.
we're not.
That's what tequila's for. It kills all the germs. If everybody listens to their buddy Eddie Buffalo and tequila, kids, stay off drugs, stay in school, no drinking. It's like a PSA. I just said that.
Look at
Did I
that.
sound
Yeah, look at
like
you.
fancy? I'm like Nancy Reagan. Say no to tequila.
Especially with the worm in it.
No más, señoritas, no, no más. So, well, I think this is a great show, guys. I mean, yes, we're called Insurance Questions Podcast, but if something important comes up, especially in your line of work, I mean, I've had a lot of comments how they like the synergy with all of us with insurance. You with the taxes, and for some reason, they think Donnie Lowe is a real estate guy because we were talking about mortgage protection, but you're an insurance guy, Don, right?
Yes, I
And it sounds
am.
clear. Are you still doing the pickleball?
I never did the pickleball.
Never did the pickleball. You sound, yeah, I ain't saying which sound, because I tried to tell her one of those jokes and they don't do those in Texas. She was like, what? What?
No pickleball?
What? No, I'll tell you later off.
Oh,
off
okay.
air.
All right,
So-
keep
Yeah,
it
no,
off the
there's
air.
people who do pickleball, but he was making some jokes, and I'm like, maybe that's a Buffalo thing. That's not down here.
No,
Definitely.
it's probably an Eddie thing.
So-
Could be.
We're gonna wrap this up. Once again, everybody, if you enjoy what you hear here, you like working with people that are just like you, this is where to come. www.ebiagency.com. As of Monday, Sarah will be able to get a hold of Sarah through there. And what's like, how you got a lot of videos on your website, Sarah? Or are you just starting to do that? Because we can.
I'm
kick this
just
over.
starting to do that. I was planning on doing it after tax, but I did the one today over the AI situation,
Yeah.
where they can go to my YouTube channel and watch that.
Okay. For your buddy Eddie Buffalo, Sassy Sarah, and the one and only AI driven Donnie Lowe. Have a nice weekend and stay safe, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Are you sure you're not a robot? Yeah. Yo, I think that Donnie Lowe was one of them robots. I heard him go.
He's not going to admit it on record.
I am
Yo,
not a
Donnie Lowe,
robot.
you gonna come get it on the record? All right, guys, be good. Bye.
All right, enjoy your weekend.